Hey, David, I like most of Bernie's policies, but I don't like Bernie. Everyone I know that has met him says he's a dick. Okay, I wonder who you know that has met him. I also don't want a nearly 80-year-old leading the progressive movement. He has to stop saying he's a democratic socialist. It'll never work. Does the progressive movement need a rebrand? Your question implies a sort of similar understanding to some of the analysis I made after Super Tuesday. And what that analysis was included the realization that something like Medicare for all, the left is split on Medicare for all. You have people who simply don't want it. You have people who do want it, but not at the exclusion of being able to keep private insurance. There's a lot of different opinions about Medicare for all on the left. My belief is that many elements, 75, 80% of Medicare for all, most of the left would come around to if it was given to them by the right candidate and framed in the right way, and not presented as what you have will be taken away, but rather this will be created and you can choose to take advantage of this. Or if you want to keep paying for insurance, you can do it, but we are going to fund this in the following way, as Bernie has pointed out. Okay, fine. I don't think it's crazy to say that when you hear it from a nearly 80-year-old Democratic Socialist from Brooklyn, if you are a North Florida Democrat, you are more likely to be repelled by it than to welcome it. This is not my view. Understand, I don't care about Bernie's identity, and I'm doing the best I can to look at the policies. But I understand that there are a lot of people who would be in favor of 80% of Bernie's Medicare for all plan and his free college plan, assuming that it's the version that includes trade school and so on and so on. Right? The policies themselves are certainly more popular than it might appear from the overwhelming way in which Joe Biden has outperformed Bernie in the popular vote in the Democratic primary. So yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. Now, as far as whether the progressive movement needs to rebrand, I'm less sure about that. One of the concerns I've expressed is when I see people deifying politicians almost like gods, like deities, I don't care who it is. I think that that's a problem, right? You have a movement in this country. It's probably about 60 or 70% of Trump supporters that see Trump as a pseudo deity. They see him almost like a god. He can do no wrong. He can shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, whatever. I think that that's absolutely terrible. I've pointed out before, there are elements of this in the Democratic Party as well. We saw it, I would say, anecdotally from the emails I got. I had Tulsi supporters, Andrew Yang supporters, and Bernie supporters who really seemed to see the three respective candidates as almost perfect beings, as almost they are deifying them in some way. And I don't know if it's because I've met enough of these politicians that I just don't get sucked into the cults of personality or whatever, but these are just people. These are flawed people. They all have some good ideas and some ideas that are not so good. You can like 9 out of 10 policies from one person, and you can still recognize maybe that 10th out of 10 policy doesn't make sense or doesn't, the numbers don't balance or whatever the case may be. And when I see anyone deifying a candidate, I get concerned because I don't think that we should be deifying politicians at all. There's a very emotional reaction to Bernie among some of his supporters that reminds me of some of the emotional reaction that we see with Donald Trump. Now, remember, I support the vast majority of Bernie's policies, and we've been supporting him on the program for a while. That doesn't mean that I see Bernie as the be-all, end-all in terms of the progressive movement. I think that the way that the progressive movement will succeed is not necessarily a rebrand, but it's, number one, you got to stop the Democratic Socialist stuff. I've been talking about that for a very, very long time. I know there's part of the progressive movement that likes to say socialism polls better than it has in decades. It still doesn't poll that well. And it's still not a good idea to be talking about when the policies you're advocating aren't actually Democratic Socialist policies. There's no upside. So whether it's a rebrand or whether it's picking candidates that maybe better relate to people demographically or whatever the case may be, is it AOC? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Does she call herself a Democratic Socialist? I'm not sure. But what you have to look at is, in a way, it's crazy. Look at what the Tea Party did in 2010. The Tea Party, with terrible policies that were genuinely bad for the vast majority of the people that supported Tea Party candidates, built a pseudo movement, which was then integrated into the Republican Party and move the entire party in that direction. You're not seeing that happen in the same way with the progressive movement. And I don't know, it pains me to see it not happen. I don't know if it's the people. I don't believe that it's the policies. I think the policies are good. It may be the framing or the language around some of the policies. I'm going to be thinking about this a lot and talking about it once we get past the primary phase. But I'd be curious to hear from you for sure.